The Estadio Santiago Bernabeu buzzed with anticipation, its iconic white stands shimmering under the floodlights. The air was thick with excitement, every seat filled by fans who had travelled from across Spain and beyond, all eager to witness another chapter in Real Madrid's storied European history. On a classic Champions League night, the city of Madrid seemed to hold its breath, knowing that anything could happen on this hallowed ground. Real Madrid, the undisputed kings of Europe with an astonishing 15 titles, began their quest for a historic 16th. Their opponents, Olympique Marseille, the only French club to ever lift the trophy, a team with its own proud legacy and a hunger to make history once again. The stage was set, Spanish royalty versus French pride. Two clubs, each with a unique story, now facing off under the brightest lights in European football. Under the guidance of club legend Xabi Alonso, Madrid looked to extend their flawless domestic form onto the European stage. Alonso, a Champions League winner as a player, now sought to etch his name in history as a manager, bringing fresh ideas and tactical brilliance to the team. Marseille, led by the innovative Roberto De Zerbi, arrived as underdogs but carried the weight of their city's hopes. Determined to prove their 1993 triumph was no fluke, they trained with intensity and focus, ready to challenge the odds and silence the doubters. The roar of the home crowd was deafening, a white wall of sound and colour that seemed to shake the very foundations of the stadium. Madridistas waved their scarves and flags, creating an atmosphere that could unnerve even the most seasoned opponents. Real Madrid had a perfect record against Marseille, and no French team had ever managed to win at the Bernabeu in the Champions League era. The weight of history was firmly on the side of the Spanish giants. But for Marseille, the challenge was more than just 11 men in white. They faced the ghosts of past defeats, the pressure of expectation, and the daunting task of rewriting the narrative on enemy soil. Yet, in the Champions League, history is always waiting to be rewritten. The competition thrives on upsets, on nights when the impossible becomes reality and new legends are born. As the iconic anthem echoed through the stadium, players lined up, faces set, nerves taut, each one dreaming of glory. The world watched as these two storied clubs prepared for battle. The whistle was moments away, ready to unleash a night of drama, passion and footballing magic that only Madrid can provide. The stage was set for another unforgettable European night at the Bernabeu. The match exploded into action, with Real Madrid eager to stamp their authority on the grandest stage of European football. The energy inside the Santiago Bernabeu was electric, every fan on the edge of their seat hoping to witness another chapter of glory. All eyes were on Trent Alexander-Arnold, making his highly anticipated Champions League debut for Los Blancos. The English full-back, known for his composure and pinpoint passing, was ready to prove himself on this new stage, wearing the famous white shirt for the very first time in Europe. But just 3 minutes in, disaster struck. Alexander-Arnold pulled up clutching his hamstring. The stadium fell silent as he dropped to the ground, pain etched across his face. It was a cruel twist of fate, the kind that can haunt a player's dreams. The Bernabeu gasped as he collapsed, his debut cruelly cut short before it had even begun. The sense of shock rippled through the stands, with supporters and teammates alike struggling to process what had just happened. After a quick assessment, it was clear he couldn't continue. The medics signalled to the bench, and Alexander-Arnold's Champions League dream was over almost as soon as it began. He was helped off the pitch, the crowd offering a warm ovation in recognition of his heartbreak. Dani Carvajal was summoned, steadying the ship after the early shock. The experienced defender knew he had to bring calm and leadership to a team suddenly rattled by the unexpected setback. The injury rattled Madrid, but their young stars quickly responded, showing maturity beyond their years. They gathered together, refocused, and reminded themselves that the match was far from over. Franco Mastantuono, also making his debut, nearly lit up the stadium with a curling shot that struck the post. The young Argentine's confidence was clear, and for a moment it seemed he might provide the perfect response to the early setback. The crowd groaned. The woodwork denied a dream start. The tension in the air was palpable, as everyone realized how quickly fortunes could change in football. The opening minutes were chaotic, unpredictable and full of tension. Every pass, every tackle, every run carried extra weight, as both teams tried to settle into a rhythm after the dramatic start. Madrid's intent was clear, but fate had already thrown the night off script. The players knew they had to dig deep, adapt, and find a way to overcome adversity. The champions regrouped, determined to overcome the early setback. Their unity and resilience would be tested, but the belief in the squad remained unshaken. The stage was set for a night of twists and turns, where heroes would rise, and every moment could change the story. The Champions League had delivered drama from the very first whistle, and there was so much more to come. Marseille refused to be cowed by the occasion. De Zerbi's side played with courage, controlling possession and moving the ball with purpose. Midfielders Højbjerg and Kondogbia dictated the tempo, refusing to sit back. Their bravery paid off in the 22nd minute. Mason Greenwood cut inside, slipping a perfect pass to Timothy Weah. Weah, in full stride, fired low past Courtois. Marseille led, silencing the Bernabeu. The away fans erupted. Weah's first goal for the club was a stunner. Marseille had seized control and struck a clinical blow. Real Madrid, stunned, found themselves trailing at home. The early injury had left them vulnerable, and Marseille capitalized. Xabi Alonso watched, concerned as his team faced real adversity. The kings of Europe were bloodied. The pressure was on to respond. The underdogs had made their intentions clear. They came to win. Trailing at home, Real Madrid responded with urgency. The players, stung by the setback, exchanged determined glances as their coach barked instructions from the sideline. Every pass, every movement, was now charged with a sense of purpose. They knew the importance of the moment. The Bernabeu roared as Madrid pressed forward, their attacks growing sharper with each passing minute. The crowd, sensing a shift, rose to their feet, waving flags and urging their team on. The energy in the stadium was electric, a tidal wave of support pushing the players to dig deeper. Just 5 minutes after conceding, Rodrigo darted into the box, weaving past defenders with dazzling footwork. Suddenly, Kondogbia lunged in with a desperate challenge, catching Rodrigo and sending him tumbling to the turf. The home fans held their breath, eyes fixed on the referee. The referee didn't hesitate. He pointed straight to the spot. Penalty to Madrid. The stadium erupted in a mix of relief and anticipation, while Marseille's players protested the decision. Kylian Mbappe stepped up, the weight of expectation on his shoulders. The world watched as he placed the ball on the spot, blocking out the noise and pressure. Every eye in the stadium was locked on him, waiting to see if he could deliver. Calm and composed, he sent Rulli the wrong way, burying the penalty with clinical precision. The net rippled, and for a moment time seemed to stand still before the crowd exploded in celebration. The stadium erupted. Madrid were level, momentum shifting instantly. The players rushed to embrace Mbappe, their belief reignited by his coolness under pressure. Mbappe's equalizer in the 29th minute reignited the home side. The scoreboard flashed 1-1, and the sense of possibility swept through the stands. Madrid's fans could feel the tide turning. Marseille's brief ascendancy was over. Madrid smelled blood. The visitors looked rattled, struggling to regain their composure as Madrid pressed high and forced mistakes. The contest was back on level terms, the energy electric. Every tackle, every sprint was met with thunderous applause. Both teams fought for control, knowing the next goal could be decisive. Madrid's stars were hungry for more, the crowd fully behind them. The players rallied together, feeding off the passion from the stands, their eyes set on taking the lead. The Champions League drama was in full swing. Every moment felt loaded with significance, the stakes higher than ever under the bright lights of Europe's grandest stage. Both teams knew the next goal could define the night. The tension was palpable, with players glancing nervously at the clock and at each other, aware that a single mistake could change everything. The Bernabeu was alive with belief once more, its legendary atmosphere fueling Madrid's relentless pursuit of victory. The first half was a tactical chess match in midfield. De Zerbi's Marseille bravely sought to dominate possession, building from the back. Højbjerg and Kondogbia anchored the midfield, resisting Madrid's press. Matt O'Reilly found pockets of space, linking play and unsettling Madrid's shape. Marseille's patient build-up forced Madrid to chase, a rare sight at the Bernabeu. Yet Madrid's midfield, Tchouaméni and Valverde, remained a formidable shield. Tchouaméni broke up play. Valverde drove transitions with relentless energy. The clash of styles created a captivating ebb and flow. Marseille controlled the ball, but Madrid's counters were always dangerous. The midfield battle set the stage for a second half full of possibilities. The score was level at halftime, but Marseille's Geronimo Rulli was the reason. Madrid unleashed a barrage of shots, but Rulli stood tall, making 10 saves before the break. He denied Mbappe, Valverde and Goulet, keeping Marseille in the game. Courtois, less busy, made key stops when called upon. Rulli's heroics preserved the deadlock, frustrating Madrid's relentless attack. The duel between Rulli and Madrid's forwards became the story of the half. The visitors owed their survival to their inspired goalkeeper. The first half stats told a tale of contrasts. Marseille edged possession, over 53%, a rare feat at the Bernabeu. Yet Madrid were ruthless in attack, firing 18 shots with 11 on target. Rulli's saves kept Marseille afloat, while their own 8 shots rarely troubled Courtois. Madrid's direct style created far more danger, reflected in a much higher XG. Marseille's control didn't translate into clear chances. The 1-1 scoreline flattered the visitors, who survived a Madrid onslaught. For Madrid, frustration lingered. They should have been ahead. The numbers revealed a clash of philosophies, control versus cutting edge. The second half promised more drama as both sides sought a breakthrough. Amid the stars, Madrid's young talents shone brightest. 18-year-old Franco Mastantuono dazzled on his Champions League debut, striking the post early and tormenting Marseille's defense. His energy and confidence belied his age, making him a constant threat. Arda Güler, orchestrating from midfield, probed for openings and tested Rulli with sharp efforts. The duo's creativity added spark to Madrid's attack, complementing Mbappe's firepower. Their fearless play showed why Xabi Alonso trusts youth on the biggest stage. Mastantuono and Goulet offered a glimpse of Madrid's future. Their impact was felt in every Madrid surge forward. On a night of pressure, the youngsters delivered. Halftime arrived with the contest perfectly balanced at 1-1. Madrid had battled adversity and equalized, while Marseille had defied expectations. The French side's resilience and Rulli's heroics kept them in the fight. History hung in the balance. Madrid's unbeaten home record against French teams was under threat. For De Zerbi's men, a chance at immortality beckoned. The second half promised high drama. Would Madrid's pressure break Marseille, or could the visitors snatch a famous win? The tactical chess match was far from over. All eyes turned to the restart, with everything still to play for.